Question 1. A project manager is leading a software development project using an Agile approach. During a sprint review, a key business stakeholder expresses dissatisfaction with a recently demonstrated feature, stating it does not meet their current operational needs. What should the project manager prioritize to address this stakeholder's concern? A. Document the feedback and inform the stakeholder that changes can only be considered in a future release. B. Engage with the stakeholder to understand the root cause of the dissatisfaction and collaboratively explore solutions. C. Remind the stakeholder about the agreed-upon scope and suggest they review the initial requirements document. D. Escalate the issue to senior management for a decision on how to proceed with the unapproved feature. Answer. B. Engage with the stakeholder to understand the root cause of the dissatisfaction and collaboratively explore solutions. In an Agile environment, continuous stakeholder engagement and feedback are paramount to delivering value. When a key stakeholder expresses dissatisfaction, the project manager's priority is to actively listen, understand their concerns, and collaborate with them to find a viable solution that aligns with the project's objectives and the stakeholders' evolving needs. This approach fosters trust, ensures the project remains adaptable, and helps manage expectations effectively. Proactive engagement prevents minor issues from escalating and reinforces the collaborative spirit of Agile methodologies. Remember, effective stakeholder engagement is about building relationships and adapting to changing requirements, not rigidly adhering to initial plans. Question 2. During the execution phase of a project manager identifies that a crucial stakeholder, who initially showed low interest and low power, has recently gained significant influence over project resources and decision-making. What is the most appropriate action for the project manager to take regarding this stakeholder? A. Continue with the current engagement strategy, as it was established during planning. B. Update the stakeholder engagement plan and adjust communication strategies to involve them more actively. C. Inform senior management about the change and request they manage this stakeholder directly. D. Limit communication with this stakeholder to avoid potential disruption to project activities. Answer. B. Update the stakeholder engagement plan and adjust communication strategies to involve them more actively. Stakeholder influence and interest are dynamic, and a project manager must continuously monitor and reassess these attributes throughout the project lifecycle. When a stakeholder's power or interest changes, the project manager should update the stakeholder engagement plan to reflect this new reality, adjusting communication frequency and methods to ensure their continued appropriate involvement. This proactive adaptation is crucial for maintaining support, managing expectations, and preventing potential issues or roadblocks. Continuously monitoring and adapting your stakeholder engagement strategy is key to project success. Question 3. A project team is experiencing frequent scope creep due to last-minute requests from an influential stakeholder. This stakeholder is critical to the project's success but tends to bypass the formal change control process. What is the best initial approach for the project manager? A. Reject all new requests from the stakeholder outright to enforce the change control process. B. Implement a stricter change control process without consulting the stakeholder. C. Engage the stakeholder to understand their needs better and educate them on the change control process and its benefits. D. Direct the stakeholder to submit all requests to the project sponsor for approval. Answer. C. Engage the stakeholder to understand their needs better and educate them on the change control process and its benefits. When facing scope creep from an influential stakeholder, the project manager's best initial approach is to engage directly and constructively. Understanding the stakeholders' underlying needs behind the last-minute requests is crucial, as is educating them on the project's established change control process and the benefits it provides in terms of managing scope, schedule, and cost. This collaborative approach helps build understanding, maintains a positive relationship, and encourages adherence to established processes, ensuring the project remains aligned with its objectives. Remember, influencing stakeholders often involves active listening and demonstrating how processes ultimately benefit them. Question 4. The project manager is preparing for a key project milestone review. A particular stakeholder, critical to the project's acceptance, has a known history of being highly resistant to change and focuses primarily on potential risks. Which communication strategy would be most effective for engaging this stakeholder during the review? A. Present only positive progress and downplay any challenges to maintain optimism. B. Focus on demonstrating how project changes mitigate risks and present solutions for their concerns. C. Provide a highly detailed technical report covering all aspects of the project. D. Avoid direct interaction with this stakeholder and instead communicate through a trusted intermediary. Answer: B. Focus on demonstrating how project changes mitigate risks and present solutions for their concerns. When dealing with a stakeholder known to be resistant to change and risk-averse, the most effective communication strategy is to directly address their concerns by focusing on risk mitigation and presenting clear solutions. This approach validates their perspective, demonstrates that their input is valued, and shows how the project is managed to minimize negative impacts. By proactively highlighting how challenges are being addressed and risks contained, the project manager can build trust and gain their acceptance. Always tailor your communication to the stakeholder's specific interests and concerns. Question 5. A project manager is dealing with a stakeholder who consistently provides negative feedback and openly criticizes the project's progress in team meetings, lowering morale. How should the project manager address this behavior? A. Exclude the stakeholder from future team meetings to prevent further disruption. B. Politely ask the stakeholder to refrain from negative comments in public settings. C. Schedule a private meeting with the stakeholder to understand their concerns and seek constructive solutions. D. Document the behavior and report it to the project sponsor for disciplinary action. Answer: C. Schedule a private meeting with the stakeholder to understand their concerns and seek constructive solutions. When a stakeholder exhibits disruptive behavior, such as providing consistently negative feedback in public, the most constructive approach is to address it privately and professionally. Scheduling a private meeting allows the project manager to understand the underlying reasons for the negativity, listen to their concerns without judgment, and explore potential solutions collaboratively. This demonstrates respect, opens a channel for constructive dialogue, and can transform a difficult stakeholder into a supportive one by addressing their issues directly and respectfully. Remember, empathy and direct communication are powerful tools in managing stakeholder expectations and behaviors. Question 6. What is the primary purpose of developing a stakeholder engagement plan? A. To identify all potential internal and external project stakeholders. B. To determine how to effectively involve stakeholders based on their needs, interests, and potential impact. C. To categorize stakeholders based on their power and interest in the project. D. To establish a communication matrix detailing all project communication channels. Answer: B. To determine how to effectively involve stakeholders based on their needs, interests, and potential impact. The primary purpose of a stakeholder engagement plan is to outline the strategies and actions required to effectively involve stakeholders throughout the project lifecycle. This plan considers each stakeholder's identified needs, interests, and potential impact on the project, prescribing tailored approaches to ensure their optimal participation and support. It serves as a guide for how to communicate, manage expectations, and resolve conflicts, moving stakeholders from their current engagement level to the desired one. Think of it as your roadmap for building strong relationships and securing commitment. Question 7. A project manager identifies that a key stakeholder, who was initially classified as supportive, has become neutral due to recent project delays. What is the immediate next step the project manager should take? A. Re-evaluate the stakeholder's power and interest levels. B. Update the stakeholder engagement plan and adjust strategies to regain their support. C. Communicate more frequently with the stakeholder, regardless of the content. D. Ignore the change, assuming the stakeholder will eventually become supportive again. Answer: B. Update the stakeholder engagement plan and adjust strategies to regain their support. The stakeholder engagement plan is a living document that needs continuous monitoring and updating. When a key stakeholder's engagement level shifts from supportive to neutral, it indicates a potential risk to the project. The immediate next step is to revise the stakeholder engagement plan to include new or adjusted strategies aimed at understanding the reasons for the shift and working to regain their desired level of support. This proactive approach ensures the project continues to receive necessary backing and minimizes negative impacts. Always remember to adapt your engagement strategies as stakeholder dynamics evolve. Question 8. In an Agile project, when is stakeholder engagement most frequent and informal compared to traditional projects? A. At the project kickoff meeting. B. During formal gate reviews and phase transitions. C. During daily stand-up meetings and sprint reviews/demos. D. Only when major issues or changes arise. Answer: C. During daily stand-up meetings and sprint reviews/demos. In Agile projects, stakeholder engagement is characterized by continuous, frequent, and often informal interactions, particularly during events like daily stand-up meetings, where stakeholders may observe or participate, and, most notably, sprint reviews or demos. These regular interactions facilitate rapid feedback, allow for iterative adjustments, and ensure the product being developed continuously aligns with stakeholder needs. This contrasts with traditional approaches that often rely on more formal, less frequent engagement points. Agile embraces collaboration and continuous feedback as core principles, making consistent stakeholder interaction vital. Question 9. A project manager needs to assess the current and desired engagement levels of various stakeholders. Which tool or technique is most appropriate for this purpose? A. Communication Management Plan. B. Stakeholder Register. C. Stakeholder Engagement Assessment Matrix. D. Power/interest grid. Answer: C. Stakeholder Engagement Assessment Matrix. The Stakeholder Engagement Assessment Matrix is a key tool used to identify the current engagement level of stakeholders, example unaware, resistant, neutral, supportive, leading, and compare it against their desired engagement level for project success. This matrix helps the project manager strategically plan how to move stakeholders from their current state to the desired state, guiding tailored engagement actions. While other options are related to stakeholder management, this specific matrix directly addresses the assessment of engagement levels. Understanding this gap is crucial for effective engagement planning. Question 10. Which of the following is a primary characteristic of a leading stakeholder in a stakeholder engagement assessment matrix? A. The stakeholder is aware of the project but not actively engaged. B. The stakeholder is actively supporting the project and encouraging others to do the same. C. The stakeholder opposes the project and actively works against it. D. The stakeholder is neither supportive nor unsupportive of the project. Answer: B. The stakeholder is actively supporting the project and encouraging others to do the same. In the Stakeholder Engagement Assessment Matrix, a leading stakeholder is characterized by their active support for the project, taking initiative to advocate for it, and proactively engaging with and influencing others to also support the project. They are not just supportive, but they lead by example and champion the project's cause. This level of engagement is highly beneficial for project success and represents the highest desired engagement level for critical stakeholders. Getting a stakeholder to this level often requires significant effort and relationship building. Question 11. A project manager discovers a key internal stakeholder is completely unaware of a critical project deliverable due next week, even though communication was sent out. This lack of awareness poses a significant risk. What should the project manager do first? A. Resend the communication to all stakeholders via email. B. Document the stakeholder's lack of awareness in the issue log and escalate to the project sponsor. C. Hold a direct, one-on-one meeting with the stakeholder to understand their preferred communication method and provide the necessary information. D. Inform the team to proceed with the deliverable as planned, assuming the stakeholder will eventually catch up. Answer: C. Hold a direct, one-on-one meeting with the stakeholder to understand their preferred communication method and provide the necessary information. When a key stakeholder is unaware of critical information, the first and most effective step is to engage directly and personally with them. A one-on-one meeting allows the project manager to ascertain why the previous communication was missed, understand the stakeholder's preferred communication channels, and ensure the critical information is immediately conveyed. This personalized approach addresses the specific issue, builds rapport, and helps tailor future communications for better effectiveness. Understanding individual communication preferences is vital for successful stakeholder engagement. Question 12. A project manager is facilitating a workshop with diverse stakeholders, some of whom have conflicting interests regarding the project's outcome. To achieve a productive discussion and reach consensus, which technique should the project manager primarily employ? A. Majority voting. B. Active listening and conflict resolution skills. C. Deferring all contentious issues to the project sponsor. D. Focusing only on the interests of the most powerful stakeholders. Answer: B. Active listening and conflict resolution skills. When facilitating discussions among stakeholders with conflicting interests, active listening and strong conflict resolution skills are paramount. Active listening allows the project manager to fully understand each stakeholder's perspective and underlying concerns, while conflict resolution skills enable the manager to guide the conversation towards mutually acceptable solutions or compromises. This approach fosters an environment of respect and collaboration, leading to more sustainable agreements and stronger stakeholder relationships. The goal is to find common ground and facilitate win-win outcomes. Question 13. Which of the following is a key output of the Identify Stakeholders process? A. Stakeholder Engagement Plan. B. Communications Management Plan. C. Stakeholder Register. D. Resource Management Plan. Answer: C. Stakeholder Register. The Identify Stakeholders process, which is part of the planning process group, or aligns with the Engage with Stakeholders performance domain, focuses on identifying all people or organizations impacted by or able to impact the project. The primary output of this process is the Stakeholder Register, a document that lists identified stakeholders along with relevant information such as their roles, organizations, interests, and potential impact. This register serves as a foundational document for all subsequent stakeholder management activities. It's the starting point for knowing who's who on your project. Question 14. A project manager observes that a project's benefits realization is at risk because a key stakeholder consistently delays providing necessary approvals. This stakeholder is highly interested but has limited power in the organization. What is the most effective way to address this? A. Implement an escalation path to senior management for all delayed approvals. B. Provide more frequent and detailed reports to the stakeholder to emphasize urgency. C. Empower the stakeholder by giving them more decision-making authority. D. Collaborate with a more powerful stakeholder to influence the approval process and understand the delays. Answer: D. Collaborate with a more powerful stakeholder to influence the approval process and understand the delays. When a key stakeholder with high interest but limited power delays approvals, involving a more powerful stakeholder who can influence the situation is often the most effective approach. This strategy leverages the organizational influence of the more powerful stakeholder to unblock the approval process and provides an opportunity to understand the reasons for the delays, which might be beyond the direct control of the less powerful stakeholder. Simply escalating or providing more reports might not address the root cause, and empowering someone with limited power may not be feasible or effective. Leverage your network to remove roadblocks. Question 15. The project manager is nearing the end of a project. What is a crucial aspect of stakeholder engagement during the closing phase of a project? A. Identifying new stakeholders for future projects. B. Updating the stakeholder engagement plan for the next phase. C. Obtaining final acceptance of deliverables and formal sign-off from relevant stakeholders. D. Prioritizing stakeholder needs for the upcoming sprints. Answer: C. Obtaining final acceptance of deliverables and formal sign-off from relevant stakeholders. During the closing phase of a project, a crucial aspect of stakeholder engagement involves obtaining formal acceptance of the project deliverables from relevant stakeholders and securing their final sign-off. This formal closure ensures that the project's objectives have been met to their satisfaction and that all necessary documentation is in place. It's about ensuring all parties agree the project has delivered what was promised, allowing for a smooth transition and project closure. This step provides closure and confirms successful completion. Question 16. A project manager has identified a stakeholder who is resistant to the project. What does resistant mean in the context of stakeholder engagement? A. The stakeholder is actively opposed to the project and its changes. B. The stakeholder is aware of the project but is neither supportive nor unsupportive. C. The stakeholder is unaware of the project and its potential impact. D. The stakeholder is supportive of the project and its objectives. Answer: A. The stakeholder is actively opposed to the project and its changes. In the context of stakeholder engagement, a resistant stakeholder is one who actively opposes the project, its proposed changes, or specific project outcomes. This resistance can stem from various reasons, such as perceived negative impacts, fear of change, or a belief that the project will not succeed. The project manager must identify resistant stakeholders early to develop specific strategies to address their concerns, mitigate their opposition, and potentially convert them into neutral or even supportive stakeholders. Recognizing this opposition is the first step toward managing it effectively. Question 17. The project manager needs to ensure clear and consistent communication with all stakeholders, especially for a complex project involving multiple departments. What document or plan is specifically designed to address how project information will be communicated? A. Stakeholder Register. B. Project Management Plan. C. Communications Management Plan. D. Stakeholder Engagement Plan. Answer: C. Communications Management Plan. The Communications Management Plan is the specific document within the project management plan that details how, when, and by whom project information will be administered and distributed. It outlines the communication requirements of stakeholders, methods, example email, meetings, frequency, and formats for various types of project information. This plan ensures that all stakeholders receive the right information at the right time and in the right format, promoting clear and consistent communication across the project. It's your blueprint for effective project messaging. Question 18. When initiating a project, the project manager uses techniques like expert judgment, data gathering, example brainstorming, interviews, and data representation, example power/interest grid, to identify and analyze stakeholders. What is the primary purpose of this initial analysis? A. To determine the project's budget and resource requirements. B. To develop a project schedule and critical path. C. To understand stakeholders' influence, interest, and potential impact on the project. D. To define the detailed scope of work for the project team. Answer: C. To understand stakeholders' influence, interest, and potential impact on the project. The primary purpose of the initial stakeholder analysis, often performed during the Identify Stakeholders process, is to gain a comprehensive understanding of each stakeholder's influence, interest, and potential impact on the project. This analysis helps the project manager categorize stakeholders, prioritize engagement efforts, and develop tailored strategies to ensure their positive involvement and minimize negative impacts. It's about getting to know who matters and how they might affect your project before you even begin. Question 19. A project manager is conducting a meeting with a diverse group of stakeholders, and a highly vocal individual consistently dominates the conversation, preventing others from contributing. What is the most effective approach for the project manager to facilitate balanced participation? A. Allow the vocal individual to continue, as they seem to have strong opinions. B. Politely interrupt and use facilitation techniques to encourage participation from quieter attendees. C. Adjourn the meeting and reschedule after preparing a stricter agenda. D. Direct questions only to the quieter individuals to force their participation. Answer: B. Politely interrupt and use facilitation techniques to encourage participation from quieter attendees. When a single individual dominates a stakeholder meeting, an effective project manager employs facilitation techniques to ensure balanced participation. This involves politely interrupting the dominant speaker, summarizing their points, and then actively inviting contributions from quieter attendees, perhaps by using open-ended questions or round-robin techniques. This ensures that all voices are heard, diverse perspectives are considered, and a more comprehensive consensus can be achieved. Effective facilitation is crucial for productive group interactions. Question 20. A project manager is experiencing scope changes driven by a stakeholder who is very engaged but often shifts priorities. This stakeholder is classified as high power, high interest. What is the most appropriate strategy to manage this stakeholder's behavior? A. Communicate infrequently to reduce opportunities for new requests. B. Involve them closely in project decisions and conduct frequent, structured reviews to manage expectations. C. Escalate all their requests to the project sponsor for approval. D. Ignore their requests unless they come through formal written channels. Answer: B. Involve them closely in project decisions and conduct frequent, structured reviews to manage expectations. For high-power, high-interest stakeholders who frequently shift priorities, the most effective strategy is to involve them closely and continuously in project decisions and conduct frequent, structured reviews. This proactive engagement ensures their evolving needs are understood, expectations are managed in real time, and any scope changes are addressed through the formal change control process rather than ad hoc requests. Their high engagement can be channeled productively by making them part of the solution rather than a source of problems. Your goal is to align their high energy with project success. Question 21. A project manager has identified a stakeholder who is unaware of the project and its potential impact. Which of the following is the most appropriate initial engagement strategy for this stakeholder? A. Provide them with comprehensive project documentation for self-study. B. Engage them in a one-on-one meeting to introduce the project and its relevance to them. C. Send a formal email announcing the project and their role. D. Ignore them until they show interest, as they are currently unaware. Answer: B. Engage them in a one-on-one meeting to introduce the project and its relevance to them. For a stakeholder who is completely unaware of the project, the most effective initial engagement strategy is a personalized, one-on-one meeting. This allows the project manager to directly introduce the project, explain its objectives, and specifically highlight how it might impact or benefit them. This direct interaction fosters understanding, establishes rapport, and helps move the stakeholder from unaware to at least neutral or supportive, paving the way for future engagement. A personal touch goes a long way in building initial connections. Question 22. What is the primary benefit of actively managing stakeholder engagement throughout a project? A. To ensure all project documents are meticulously updated. B. To minimize the number of project team meetings. C. To increase project success by obtaining and maintaining stakeholder support and managing expectations. D. To strictly adhere to the initial project baseline without any deviations. Answer: C. To increase project success by obtaining and maintaining stakeholder support and managing expectations. The primary benefit of actively managing stakeholder engagement is to significantly increase the likelihood of project success. This involves continuously communicating with stakeholders, addressing their concerns, building strong relationships, and managing their expectations. By doing so, the project manager can gain and maintain crucial stakeholder support, mitigate potential resistance, and ensure the project remains aligned with the needs and objectives of those who matter most. Strong stakeholder relationships are a cornerstone of project success. Question 23. A project manager is conducting a sprint review and the product owner raises a concern that some user stories are not ready for demonstration due to dependencies on an external team. How should the project manager handle this during the review? A. Apologize for the delay and move on to the next user story. B. Collaboratively discuss the issue with the product owner and the team, outlining potential solutions and next steps. C. Postpone the sprint review until all user stories are complete. D. Inform the product owner that it's their responsibility to ensure user stories are ready. Answer. B. Collaboratively discuss the issue with the product owner and the team, outlining potential solutions and next steps. During a sprint review, if a critical item isn't ready, the project manager should facilitate an open and collaborative discussion with the product owner and the development team. This involves acknowledging the issue, collaboratively exploring its root causes, example external dependency, identifying potential solutions, and agreeing on clear next steps. This approach fosters transparency, shared ownership, and problem-solving, reinforcing the Agile principle of adapting to change and continuously delivering value. Agile is all about collaboration and continuous improvement. Question 24. A project manager is dealing with a stakeholder who is very knowledgeable and influential but prefers to communicate informally and infrequently, often through casual conversations or brief emails. How should the project manager adapt their communication strategy for this stakeholder? A. Schedule formal weekly meetings to ensure all information is consistently shared. B. Insist on formal, documented communication for all interactions to maintain a record. C. Leverage their preferred informal channels for routine updates while ensuring critical information is acknowledged. D. Limit communication to only official project reports and newsletters. Answer. C. Leverage their preferred informal channels for routine updates while ensuring critical information is acknowledged. Effective stakeholder engagement requires adapting communication strategies to individual preferences. If a knowledgeable and influential stakeholder prefers informal and infrequent communication, the project manager should respect and leverage these preferred channels for routine updates. However, it's crucial to ensure that critical decisions or important information are still properly acknowledged or followed up on to maintain a clear record and prevent misunderstandings. Flexibility in communication style builds trust and ensures information is received effectively. Tailoring your communication to their style will lead to better engagement. Question 25. What is the primary risk of neglecting stakeholder engagement in a project? A. Inefficient resource allocation and increased project costs. B. Unrealistic project schedule and prolonged project duration. C. Decreased project support, increased resistance, and potential project failure. D. Inaccurate quality control measures and suboptimal deliverables. Answer. C. Decreased project support, increased resistance, and potential project failure. Neglecting stakeholder engagement carries the primary risk of decreased project support, increased resistance, and ultimately, potential project failure. Without active engagement, stakeholders may become disengaged, misunderstand project objectives, withhold crucial resources or approvals, or even actively oppose the project, leading to roadblocks, scope creep, and a lack of acceptance for the final deliverables. Proactive stakeholder management is therefore essential for securing the necessary buy-in and navigating potential challenges. Always remember that people can make or break your project.